Hi guys. This is a video I've wanted to make for a while on this picker and, well, basically pickers in general, about the Husking Bed. Now, I will say probably 90% of the pickers out there have the same problem in the fact that they don't like to husk that well, and there's a pretty good reason for that. Most of the time these beds, you either have your standard 6, 8, 10, 12 Husking Bed roll, and they're usually rubber or rubber and steel or steel and steel. But if it's rubber on rubber or rubber on steel, the biggest problem with them is the rubbers have got hard. This picker, for example, is mid-60s. So you can basically say the rubber in the Husking Bed is 50 years old. And like anything 50 years old, especially tires, they get hard and they get slick. Now, the following video is going to show a way to maybe renew those rubbers to make them a little, make them work better. And it's pretty simple. It takes a drill and a wire wheel and some brake fluid. Now, I'll explain. On these husking rolls, they get hard. Get in here where you can see these. They get hard, they get slick, because rubber gets hard. But if you take the wire wheel to them, like I've done this one and this one, you rough that surface up. You take that glaze off that rubber. And in doing so, it softens it up a bit. Now, this is where the brake fluid comes in. Once you take the wire wheel to these, and you can see there, that takes that glaze off. You take the brake fluid and just pour down this and let it soak. With that glaze off and this roughed up, it'll expand. Brake fluid makes any rubber expand some. And these are old car tires, so obviously it'll help that. So you rough these up, and I'll show how to do that in here in just a moment. And then just give them a good coating of brake fluid. But you gotta break that glaze up. You can see there where it's real dull looking, and here where it's real bright. Haven't got the glaze off of this one yet, but I have off of that one, as you can see. I've worked on this one just a little bit. It's not the easiest thing. I'd rather have a wire wheel, regular wire wheel, but I don't have one, so I'm using this. And you also need to have the direction opposite of the way these turn. These turn this way, so you need the wire wheel going opposite to rough that up, to make that surface to where it wants to grab. And once you do that and get them roughed up, put the brake fluid on them, it'll swell and make better contact here. Now these have got a little bit of wear in them, but it takes some doing to pull that over. So it will help. So let me see if I can get you set up and you can see how I do this. Hang on just a moment. Maybe easier said than done. Okay, this might work. Okay. Now, let's see. We'll work on, see if we can do this one right here. Now, as I said, you want the drill turning the opposite direction of the roller. And just rough it up. As you can see, it takes that dullness, makes them dull, which you've taken the glaze off of it. It's roughed it up, and now that brake fluid will soak in easier. Takes a little time to do this. See if I can get you down here. Of course, it's not the easiest thing to do. But you get the idea. You can see a difference from here to here. That glaze is broke off, it's rough, and if you put brake fluid on it, it'll swell up, and which will be tighter against this roll, which will help in husking. It takes a while to do this. You know, it's not a 5-minute fix. And if you were to pour the brake fluid on it the way they are, it will work, but it won't work as good. But you need to break that glaze off of these. These are just basically car tires cut in circles and pressed together like this. But let me get this done. And never do this. This is important. Never, ever attempt to do this with it hooked to a tractor or the PTO, because you're asking for trouble. If you have a death wish and want to lose some fingers, then by all means go ahead. You know, that's not what I want to do, but it's best to do it. You can hook it to a tractor, just don't hook the PTO shaft up. You want to have it to where you can get the shaft is loose, so you can turn this over by hand to get the rollers turning. It doesn't matter which way you turn it, you'll get around all of them anyway. But let me get back to this and get these roughed up, and I'll show you what I'm talking about when I get them done. So hang on, guys, we'll be back. Okay, hopefully you can see this. You can see a line right here. I've rolled the picker over, and you can see the glaze that's on this, that shininess. That's what we got to get rid of. And you will take some rubber off. You see that or not? All this black is rubber, real fine. But you're roughing it up, which is what it needs to be done. And like I say, hopefully you can see this. See that line right there on that. Where I've done this part, I've rolled it, and I need to do all of them again. So, I'll be back here in a minute, guys. So hang on. Okay, guys. Just to kind of prove what I'm talking about, you take that glaze off. That's all rubber that I've ground off. Kind of like here. That's all rubber. You're taking that glaze and roughing that up so that brake fluid can get in and do its thing. And these are rough now. Kind of hear it. But we'll be back here in a minute. The work continues. Hang on. Okay. This is what they look like now. You kind of see them kind of glazed, slick looking on there. I will show you what they look like when I get this done. So hang on. Okay, now that they're roughed up, and you can see some spots I missed here, little streaks. That's alright, because the next thing is easy. You just take your handy dandy favorite brand of brake fluid and get back up here. Do this very simply. Just pour it on. Wherever you can reach. Now you don't want it to go crazy, but give it a good coating. Let her just sit. I know a lot of people are probably going to say you're nuts, but this is something I have done for many, many years. And it works. And usually pretty daggone good. Sorry about that, guys. Now, you just let that sit, and that rubber will absorb that brake fluid where you've broken the glaze off of it, and it will swell it up a bit. And when it does that, it gets bigger around, it gets a little bit rougher, and it'll pull husk right on through it. Like I say, I know this may sound crazy to most people, but this is a trick I learned back in the 60s. And it works. Works very well. Oh, yeah. Well, I'm thinking of it. I mentioned these little nails. Sorry about that, guys. Batteries died. But you can see those little nails sticking up. I don't know the exact what they call them. That one's got one, that. This one doesn't have any. Should be the opposite side of this should have one, and so they don't hit is the way they should be put in there. That rolls off. Those two rolls are off compared to these. But as you can see, that glaze is off of it now. I've roughed them up. There's a lot of rubber I've removed. That's what all this is. But this is just a trick I learned a long time ago to make these pickers husk better. Because, you know, let's face it, rubber gets old, it gets hard. When it gets hard, it gets slick, and it won't do its job. But now that they're roughed up and I put brake fluid on them, it'll suck it in there and it'll swell it up. And I did this to where it made it more grippy in the rotation, you know, as it turns this way, that it'll grip that husk, help grip it and pull it through. But at any rate, guys, I'm calling it a day here. So just a little trick that I've wanted to pass along for a while, and I had the opportunity to be able to show you how this is done and a little bit of why. If you want to try it, just be careful. Don't have it hooked to it. You know, you might have it physically hooked to a tractor by the hitch pin. Don't hook the PTO shaft up. Don't try to run it and rough them up. It's a good way to lose fingers or hands. So just kind of keep that in mind. Safety first. And I hope it works for you like it's worked for me in the past. So we'll see you next time, guys. And as always, please comment, rate, and subscribe. Like I say, just a little trick I learned a long time ago, and it does work. So, we'll see you next time, guys.